You're about to hear something most seniors never realize. And once you see it, you may never look at your daily routine the same way again. Because what if I told you that one simple habit, something you probably do every single day, could be quietly damaging your body from the inside? Not your muscles, not just your joints, but your stem cells. These are the most important repair cells in your body. They rebuild damaged tissue, support your organs, and help you recover from everyday wear and tear. Without them, your body simply cannot heal the way it's supposed to. But here's the part that should concern you. After 60, these cells become much more sensitive, and certain daily habits can slowly weaken them, without any obvious warning. No pain at first, no clear signal, just small changes, feeling more tired than usual, taking longer to recover, noticing your strength isn't what it used to be. And most people think, this is just aging. But what if it's not? What if it's something you're doing every day, without even realizing the impact it's having? That's why two people the same age can feel completely different. One stays active, sharp, and independent, while the other struggles with fatigue, stiffness, and low energy. The difference isn't luck. It's what's happening deep inside the body, at the cellular level. And here's the most important part. This daily habit is so common that millions of people are doing it right now, thinking it's harmless, when in reality, it may be slowly reducing your body's ability to repair itself. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what this habit is, why it affects your stem cells more than you think, and what you can do to protect your body starting today. So before you ignore this thinking it doesn't apply to you, stay with me, because what you're about to learn could change how you treat your body every single day. What most people don't realize is that this daily habit often feels completely harmless because it's built into normal life. It doesn't feel dangerous, it doesn't cause immediate pain, and it certainly doesn't come with a warning label. In fact, many people repeat it multiple times a day without ever questioning its long-term impact. But when you look deeper at what's happening inside the body, especially after the age of 60, the picture starts to change in a way that most people never expect. Your body becomes more sensitive, your repair systems slow down, and small stresses that once had no effect begin to carry more weight over time. At the center of this is your body's ability to repair itself, and that process depends heavily on stem cells. These cells are responsible for replacing damaged tissue, supporting your immune system, and maintaining balance across different organs. When they function well, your body feels stronger, more resilient, and capable of recovering from everyday strain. But when their activity begins to decline, even slightly, the effects start to show up in ways that seem unrelated at first. You might notice more stiffness in your joints, slower healing from minor injuries, or a general feeling that your energy doesn't last the way it used to. What makes this habit particularly concerning is how it interacts with the natural aging process. After 60, your body is already adjusting to changes in how it produces energy, manages inflammation, and responds to stress. When this daily habit adds an extra layer of strain, it pushes your system further away from balance. Instead of supporting repair and renewal, your body begins to shift toward maintenance and protection, meaning fewer resources are directed toward regeneration. This creates a situation where damage can slowly build up without being fully repaired. Another important factor is how this habit influences the internal environment your cells depend on. Your body is constantly sending signals that tell cells when to repair, when to rest, and when to respond to stress. When those signals become weaker or less consistent, stem cells don't activate as effectively. They may still be present, but their ability to respond is reduced, which means the overall repair process becomes slower and less efficient. Over time, this leads to a noticeable difference in how your body feels and performs. What makes all of this easy to overlook is the gradual nature of the change. There's no single moment where everything shifts. Instead, it happens slowly, blending into everyday life until it feels normal. But when you step back and look at the pattern, it becomes clear that something more than just age is influencing how your body is functioning. And it often starts with habits that seem too small to matter, but are repeated often enough to make a real difference. What makes this daily habit even more damaging is that it directly affects how your body sends and receives repair signals. After 60, your system relies heavily on clear communication between cells to maintain balance. Stem cells don't just activate randomly. They respond to specific signals that tell them when repair is needed and where to go. But this habit begins to interfere with that process in a subtle way. It weakens the signals, making them slower, less consistent, and sometimes incomplete. As a result, even when your body needs repair, the response is delayed or reduced. At the same time, this habit contributes to a state of low-level stress inside the body that many people never feel directly. It's not the kind of stress that causes immediate discomfort, but it creates internal pressure that builds over time. This pressure affects how efficiently your cells function, including how stem cells survive and perform their role. Instead of focusing on regeneration, your body begins to shift into a protective mode, prioritizing short-term stability over long-term repair. This shift may not seem significant at first, but over months and years, it leads to noticeable changes in strength, mobility, and energy. Another layer to this is how the habit influences blood flow and oxygen delivery. Your cells depend on a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients to function properly. When this supply becomes less efficient, stem cells receive fewer resources, which limits their ability to repair damaged tissue. This doesn't happen suddenly, but gradually, as circulation becomes less effective due to repeated patterns of inactivity or imbalance. The result is a slower, less responsive repair system that struggles to keep up with the body's needs. What many people overlook is how closely this connects to daily comfort and independence. When your body's ability to repair itself declines, small physical challenges begin to feel more difficult. Movements that were once easy may require more effort, and recovery from even mild strain can take longer than expected. This creates a cycle where reduced comfort leads to less activity, and less activity further weakens the system responsible for repair. At a deeper level, this habit also affects how long stem cells remain active. Over time, repeated exposure to stress signals can cause these cells to become less responsive or enter a state where they are no longer as effective. This doesn't mean they disappear completely, but their ability to contribute to repair becomes limited. As this continues, the body gradually loses its edge in maintaining itself, making everyday life feel more demanding than it should. What many people don't realize is that this habit doesn't just affect how your body feels on the outside. It changes what's happening deep inside your cells at a microscopic level. Over time, repeated exposure to this pattern begins to create a buildup of internal waste and stress that your body has to constantly manage. This is especially important after 60, because your natural cleanup systems are no longer as fast or as efficient as they once were. When these systems slow down, unwanted substances can remain in the body longer, creating an environment where stem cells have to work under less than ideal conditions. This internal buildup places a kind of pressure on your cells that interferes with their normal function. Stem cells rely on a clean and stable environment to activate and repair damaged tissue. But when that environment becomes cluttered with byproducts and stress signals, their ability to respond becomes weaker. Instead of focusing on regeneration, they are forced to operate in a space where they must deal with constant interference. This reduces their efficiency and makes the entire repair process less reliable over time. Another important factor is how this habit influences inflammation at a deeper level. While some inflammation is a natural part of healing, too much of it can have the opposite effect. It can block the signals that tell stem cells where they are needed, or even reduce their ability to multiply and replace damaged cells. This creates a situation where the body is aware that repair is needed, but the system responsible for carrying it out is not working at full strength. As this continues, the gap between damage and repair begins to grow. At the same time, this habit can disrupt the balance your body depends on to stay stable. Your system is designed to maintain a steady internal state, where cells can function efficiently and communicate clearly. When that balance is disturbed, even slightly, it affects multiple processes at once. energy production, waste removal, and cellular communication all become less coordinated. Stem cells depend on this balance to perform their role, and when it is disrupted, their activity becomes less effective. What makes this especially concerning is how quietly it happens. There is no sudden change that makes you stop and question what's going on. Instead, it builds gradually, blending into daily life until it feels like nothing more than a normal part of aging. But when you begin to connect these internal changes to how your body feels and responds, it becomes clear that this habit is doing more than you ever expected, influencing your body's ability to repair itself in ways that are easy to miss, but hard to ignore once you understand them. As this pattern continues over time, one of the most noticeable changes begins to show up in how your body handles energy and recovery. You may start to feel like your energy runs out faster than it used to, or that even after resting, you don't feel fully recharged. This isn't just about sleep or age alone. It reflects a deeper shift in how your body is producing and using energy at the cellular level, and this has a direct impact on how well your stem cells can function. Stem cells rely on a steady and efficient supply of energy to carry out repair and regeneration. When your body's energy systems become less efficient, these cells don't receive the support they need to stay active. One of the key reasons for this is the gradual weakening of the structures inside your cells that are responsible for producing energy. Over time, repeated exposure to stress, poor habits, and reduced movement can make these systems less effective. As a result, the energy available for repair begins to decline, and stem cells are among the first to be affected. At the same time, this habit can push your body into a state where it is constantly conserving energy, rather than using it for renewal. Instead of directing resources toward rebuilding tissues and maintaining strength, your body begins to focus on simply maintaining basic function. This shift may not be obvious at first, but over time it leads to slower recovery, reduced stamina, and a feeling that your body is not keeping up the way it once did. Stem cells, which depend on active signals to repair and regenerate, become less responsive in this kind of environment. Another layer to this is how the habit influences stress levels in the body. Even if you don't feel mentally stressed, your body can still be experiencing physical stress that affects how your systems operate. When this stress becomes constant, it alters the balance of signals that regulate repair and recovery. Stem cells depend on a stable environment to function properly, and when that stability is disrupted, their activity begins to decline. This makes it harder for your body to respond effectively to everyday wear and tear. What begins to happen is a gradual shift in how your body feels overall. Tasks that once felt easy may start to require more effort, and recovery from simple activities can take longer than expected. This change is often attributed to aging alone, but when you look deeper, it becomes clear that the body's ability to generate and use energy is closely tied to how well it can repair itself, and this habit plays a significant role in shaping that process over time. Before you move on, take a moment to really think about this, because what we talked about today isn't just another health tip. It's something that could quietly shape how your body feels for years to come. The truth is, this daily habit doesn't look dangerous. It doesn't feel like a problem. And that's exactly why it's so easy to ignore. But now you know. It's not just about what you feel on the outside. It's about what's happening deep inside your body, where your ability to repair, recover, and stay independent truly begins. Your stem cells are still there. They haven't disappeared. They're simply responding to the environment you give them every single day. And that means something very important. You still have control. You don't need to change everything overnight. You don't need to be perfect. But you do need to be aware. And you do need to start making small, intentional changes. Because the longer this habit continues unchecked, the more your body adapts to a slower, weaker state. And the sooner you begin to shift it, the more you give your body a chance to respond, rebuild, and support you back. This isn't about fear. It's about understanding what most people overlook until it's too late. So ask yourself, is this habit worth the cost it may be having on your health? Because once you see it clearly, you can't unsee it. And now that you know,